So what's going on, guys? DIY Dan here, and this is another episode of Backroads, Arizona. This is going to be the beginning of a series of videos about this build that I'm doing on this long travel sand car that I purchased. So after going to the dunes with some guys with some long travel cars that have been going to the dunes for years on end and trying to follow the same lines that they were taking at the dunes, I ended up rolling my Razor and putting it on its top, which made me realize that it's time for me to upgrade to a long travel car as well. So I couldn't afford to just go buy outright a $50,000 to $70,000 long travel car. However, I did go on CRAIGSLIST and I ended up finding this long travel car, rolling chassis basically, with a lot of the parts included, for $9,500. So my best guess is this is a Morphic Industries rolling chassis that just never got completed and they are no longer in business. Everything I've heard about this chassis is they're very well built cars, but they are a little on the heavy side. Now this is going to be a slow process because I don't have the money just to throw at this thing all at one time or the time to stay on it non-stop to get it going. Now my best guesstimate right now to get this car up and running, not necessarily powder coated and finished, but at least able to run at the dunes, is going to be October of 2023. One of the main reasons for that is I have to save up for a tranny for this car. That is the one main component that it did not come with. And I'm probably going to pay more for that tranny than I did for this entire car. So in this first video, guys, I'm just going to go over what I got with the car, what the car still needs, and how I think I'm going to go about the process of putting this car together. So let's get to it. The way I'm looking at this, I basically got the chassis for free because I've got enough in parts to pay for what I paid for the entire car. It did come with a fuel tank, radiator. The seats are pretty much brand new. It did come with mid-bore hubs on the rear, which is awesome because it allows me to use a longer axle, which reduces the angle of the CV because the outer CV is in the hub itself, not sticking out past the hub. I do have brand new brake calipers and brakes all the way around. It did come with all 4 dual bypass Fox shocks. He'd also purchased an electric power steering unit out of a Kia that he got off eBay. Now this power steering unit only takes a main power, main ground, and a key on power. All the other sensors and everything else is internal in the unit. So it's going to be pretty simple to set up. It does have a telescoping steering wheel, which I thought would be pretty cool to use as my steering column, so I have some adjustability for driver comfort. Or I could disassemble it and just mount it in line in the frame somewhere. So I haven't quite decided what I'm doing there. So one thing that I've already taken off of this car is this light bar that they put on. It sticks up way too high above the car. I just don't like the look of it. So I ended up trading these 4 lights for one curved light bar, and I'll be getting that pretty soon. So one thing I'm super stoked about is how well this front end is put together. The upper and lower pivot points are put together with a uni-ball instead of ball joints. So I think that's going to be a super clean setup and very tough. The back end also looks to be put together very well. I am going to lay a couple more passes of weld on the main connecting points to the main frame. Now there is a lot of other stuff that came with this car and I haven't even sorted it all out yet. It did come with a hydraulic shifter, which I thought was pretty cool, that has a master and a slave, plus a steering wheel that tells you what gear it's in for a Mendiola 2D. However, I'm probably going to be going with a sequential force, so it won't work. Plus, the idea of a hydraulic shifter as opposed to a mechanical just seems problematic. It did come with an Ls1 Truck Engine, and I'm going to be doing a video on the teardown of the engine and tell you what I found with that. It wasn't quite as healthy as what I was hoping for, but it is a good starting point. And I might be putting a 383 stroker kit in it. I haven't really decided yet. So that video will be coming pretty soon. I also installed the front and rear seats, and I ended up moving the bracketry to make more room in the back seat because it was a little cramped, and I'll be doing a video on that as well. And then there'll be much more to come from there. So that's going to wrap it up for this first video, guys. If you have any cool ideas that might help me out for this car, make sure you leave them in the comments. I'm super stoked about this project and about getting a long travel car instead of running my Razor around at the dunes. As always, guys, I try and give the most information in the least amount of time as possible so I don't waste your time. And I hope to see you next time. Have a good one. Later.